Did you know that Google personalizes many searches by city and Also Asked is the only tool to access live People Also Asked data at city level? Try for free at alsoasked.com.
I was going to say that SEO with Fat Joe is as peaceful as this, but then the birds are all having fights.
Tired of SEO guesswork? Quadra's AI agent goes deeper to uncover high-impact optimizations and completes hours of SEO in minutes. Get started now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for sticking around. Today I'm going to be talking around Cloudflare Workers and how you can use Cloudflare Workers to implement your tech tickets. To begin, though, I just want to set the scene. So this is common in tech SEOs. The developers are slammed for weeks in advance. So the problem is you've still done your audit, you've logged your tickets, you've raised your tickets, but when you refer back to the devs work streams, you're looking weeks and months ahead. Thing is, this isn't a legacy client, this is a new client, and they've been sold a strategy and a roadmap where their tech tickets are early on. So that leaves us with a bit of a problem. So the tickets are logged, they're in the queue, but we're going to be waiting some time to get them delivered. So what we can do as SEOs, we can use our quick thinking and use Cloudflare Workers. So Cloudflare, most of you know what Cloudflare is, but it's a middleware essentially between your website server and your browsers. What are Cloudflare Workers? I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you can do the Googling for yourself. But essentially, this is what we need to know. Workers can modify and respond to HTTP requests. So what does that mean? It means we can technical SEO it. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to create your first Cloudflare Worker. So log into your Cloudflare Worker dashboard. On the left-hand panel, you'll see workers and pages. So you want to create application. What I tend to do for the first one is just create the hello world. So it's got a small piece of JavaScript in there. So name your Cloudflare Worker. And then you want to go back in and edit the code. So you want to strip out the hello world. So you've got a clear canvas from this. There is also set the route up. So what you do is assign a URL. So for example, this is site-wide, and there's the worker name. So I've got a few examples as well that I want to run through. First one being is how to override a canonical. So remember the point of this, it may sound simple, but remember the devs are stacked for weeks, and let's say you've got a large e-com site and there's a load of canonicals off, and you've no access to edit them in the back end of the CMS. So with this example, I've done this on my site. So there's the canonical tag. Here's the Cloudflare Worker. So I'm not a dev. I know my way around code, but if I was to write these scripts from scratch, looking at hours. So use ChatGTP. And what I'd recommend as well, if you are going to use ChatGTP, tell it it's a Cloudflare Worker. We're setting the route here. So this is my site again. I've put it on /brightonSEO. And here's the canonical overridden. So next example is schema. So here's the Cloudflare Worker script. This is an event schema. And this is it injected. Now this is from a Chrome extension by Ziggy Strasberg. And this is the JSON array for the schema. So this one, I do like this one. So this is around speed and core web vitals. So it's a new client, for example, and they're doing well on CLS and IMP, but LCP is, say, on the verge of passing. And you find the LCP is being pulled down from third-party scripts. So in this example, what I've done is use the Web Vitals library from a CDN. So this is the Cloudflare Worker script. And what it's doing is caching the script on Cloudflare. This is the script now cached, the party on my site. So this is before and after. So this is fetching through directly from the CDN. So if you look, we've got the DNS lookup, we've got the SSL connection, and then the downloaded. So if you can see here, that's roughly 200 milliseconds. So this is the after, because we've cached it on Cloudflare Worker. And if you can see, it's down to 75 milliseconds. So let's say you've got 3 or 4 third-party request scripts, and between them, you're probably say 200, maybe 300 milliseconds from passing core web vitals. So if you do that on a few scripts, you're probably going to pass core web vitals, and for a brand new client, that's a win. Okay, so this next example is around meta descriptions. So again, let's just give an example. If it's a relatively large e-com site. So this Cloudflare Worker script, how it works is it checks to see if there's a meta description available. If it is, it skips it. But if there's not, what it does is it extracts the first sentence from the first paragraph and uses that as the meta description. So here's a before and after. So if you can see, it's pulled the meta description from the first sentence of the paragraph. And that's how it works. Okay, so this one is around crawl budget. So we've probably all run into Search Console data like this, hundreds of thousands or millions of URLs being crawled, not indexed, just useless URLs. Now, personally, when I see a Search Console graph like this, I hate it. It's just polluting the data, in my opinion. So, a Cloudflare Worker as well, you can also override the robots.txt file. So with this script, what we've done is set disallows for the faceted, because that's where the waste is coming from. And you can also, as well, with Googlebot, you can serve it a 410 on those like persistent URLs that it seems to be crawling that have no value. You can maybe use your server logs to identify those. And what we're doing is saying, Googlebot, like, don't come back to this URL, but you're going to serve a regular 200 status code to the actual visitor. So there's a few examples. Now, when I was researching for this presentation, I was thinking, what else could we use it for? But literally, there's dozens, if not hundreds, of use cases. So you can use schemas, tracking scripts, internal linking, data layers as well, for example. You know, data layers is usually a bit of a tough one to get over the line. Caching. Okay, so I've given you some examples, but I also want to talk about a pitfall that I ran into on a live client website. So they gave me permission to use Cloudflare Workers on their site. So I got a little bit too giddy. And what happened is the request for the Cloudflare Workers basically ran out for the day. So the website went down about 8 p.m. and it didn't come back up till about midnight. So at first it was like, what's going on? Like worry. Then panic kicked in because it's a client's website. But what had happened is the Cloudflare had exceeded its limit. So I started to do a bit of research, and Cloudflare forums are actually full of people that have had similar issues. So I want to give you guys a bit of a warning on that. So if you are considering using Cloudflare Workers, just make sure that you've got plenty of resources. So on the free plan, for example, on Cloudflare, you do get 100,000 workers per day. But if it's a relatively large website, you're running multiple workers across the page, then they quickly get used up. So I've got a few best practices that I want to run through as well. So this one is avoid unnecessary execution. So What I mean by that is not every HTTP request needs a Cloudflare worker assigned to it. You don't need them on images, you don't need them on style sheets, JSON files, etc. Really, you just want to keep them focused on your key HTML files. This one goes without saying, like if a client gives you access to the staging environment, you can create and test your own Cloudflare workers on there safely without the worry of botching anything up on the site. But if you don't have access to a staging site, what else you could do is you could create a handful of URLs on the site. Just make sure they're not present in the navigation. Make sure an active user can't find them. They're just for you for testing, essentially. So key takeaways. So the main one is at the beginning, as I mentioned, the devs are stacked for weeks and weeks in advance. So this is just a temporary measure. Like, don't leave Cloudflare workers running long term. And if you remember, your tickets are already in the dev queue, so they will get round to them. With this, I'd also suggest, like, when you know the sprints are coming for the developers, take those Cloudflare workers down, because otherwise you're probably making it harder for them to actually test the actions that they're doing. And I'd also suggest as well using your favorite AI chatbot. I use ChatGTP. And like I mentioned, like if you was coding those scripts yourself, like you're wasting client time. Just get AI to quickly build those scripts. And lastly, devs, we're all on the same side. So just treat them with respect, unless they do a Friday rollout, and I think we've all had those. I'm a little bit ahead of time on this one, so thanks, guys.